How are you tonight? I want to talk. We have some real special things happening. I just want to welcome you. And I know it's been a really long time, but I wanted to bring good content to you. And I just don't want to bring you any old thing. So I feel like when I bring you good content, you guys will come on in and watch it and just enjoy what I have for you. So today we have some real good stuff going on. We have some current events that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about some laws for human rights. And I am so super excited. Tonight we have one of my really good friends and sisters on Twitter. Her name is Jocy, and I am so excited to have her on today because she is one of, I'm just going to say hands down, she is one of the people that I've met on Twitter that knows what they're talking about when it comes to the research that I've done. Like, we link mentally when we talk about the things that are happening because we know almost all the correct information or somewhat correct information. But she's just a little smart in the sense that she knows laws and other things that I'm not quite caught up on, so I can't explain a whole lot of what is going on since I just started on this path of researching everything that has to do with government. So I just want to welcome her, and I'm just going to go ahead and bring her in. Let's welcome Jocy. Come on in, Jocy.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jocy, so it's the evolution of Jocy. Basically, I'm just a patriot. I love my country. I'm going to always fight for what's right. I'm going to always speak in truth and stand in truth. It's very simple. It's not complicated. We all have a computer. We all have the resources available for us to look up and see what's going on. So I always advise people, before you come to a debate, definitely don't come with a knife. You definitely have to come prepared because, for one, as Americans, we're very strong-minded. We're very patriotic, and we can deal with a lot. But when you start capitalizing off of people's pain or starting movements that are based on false pretenses without actually giving a clear deception of how it started, that's the one thing that bothers me because you're basically misleading people to their own death. And it's like blindless sheep. So recently I've just been on Twitter and being other social media sites to just bring more awareness to people because we're all American. We all love our country. We all have great allies. Not everybody that's Muslim or from a different form of faith have hate in their heart. I have a lot of good friends of all faith that I love that have my back, that we enjoy each other. We love each other. So, and we can also sit down and have intelligent conversations. And that's the point towards growth is if you don't know something about another person's religion is to sit down and ask them to explain their upbringing because not every upbringing is raised up to be jihadist. Everybody is different. So with that being said, that's been my true purpose as far as like educating people, loving people, and just making people just wake up because even if you're a Christian and you're not perfect, we all have horror stories of the church. Regardless, your main form of understanding of that should be is to learn God, how to speak to God, how to learn how to pray. That's the purpose we all go to church. We don't go to church to be told how our life should be led. We go to church to become closer to God. And the fact that I see a lot of these big religions that are saying that they believe in God, they're becoming rich off of God. There's a big difference there. And when you're dealing with people's souls, that's not something that God takes very lightly because it's very clear in the Bible. Purpose for a church, which is just a dwelling, it's just a building. It's not there to tell you how to dictate. If you want dictatorship, you can go to a loving God to lead your path, not listen to man who's born with sin like we all are. And God knows that. The sin, it's the sin and flesh are two things. It's a twofold system. So
Okay. Wait. Let's pump our brakes because you're going deep. You're going deep, baby. Okay, hold on.
Well, it's not that. It's just like it's like the way that I am is I'm a natural thinker person. So it's things that come of my heart. It's something that I can't, like I don't have a pause button on. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Can we get you to turn your volume up a little bit?
I'm on my son's tablet. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Okay. Maybe I need to do the microphone or. Okay, so I turned. Wait, give me 1 second. I think I just found the button. Media. Okay, how is that? Is that
That's
better?
a little better. Yep, that is better. Okay, so Whew, your intro was long, baby. I need to.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
Sorry.
so no, don't apologize, girl. So you're a mom. I heard you say you're on your son's laptop. How many
Yeah.
babies do you have?
I have three sons. I have an 11-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 3-year-old. So
Oh,
quite a
they keep
bit.
you busy. They keep
Yeah,
you
they're quite
super
busy.
busy.
Yeah, homeschooling, and I'm in California, so we're dealing with the dictatorship of Gavin Newsom, but as
Mm,
patriots, we're coming together. We're getting the signatures needed. Of course, when you go to court against the government, it's not that simple. It's quite complicated. So we got the signatures
right.
required, the 300,000, but of course they threw it out from something that we've never heard of. It's like a Logan Act. I mean, you don't use it, but here it comes. So we're
Right.
getting 2 million signatures, and we're just coming back strong. Like California has always been red. I just think that a lot of people that I see on social media, they're always talking about like how California is blue. Actually, we're not blue. It's just that when your elections have been stolen for the last 40 years, I mean, what are you supposed to do? And when you have
Absolutely.
news, yeah, you just don't know. So it's like California's always been red. We've been red since 1964, I would say. That's the last time we were red, 1965. So a lot of the mentors that I have in my life, they're great people. They're people that have been through struggle, that have been through understanding, and the best of all is they're honest, and that's what makes people great. It's honesty and just living in your truth, because we're all human. And when you see these
Right.
politicians come on TV and they try to act like we're stupid or something, it's like, okay, we're not stupid, like we're actually experiencing it. So for people to go on TV and just like lie, even with the news, I used to watch Fox for a long time, and after seeing like how they've changed so much, and it's just like so much hate, especially against the president, because before he was president, they were like, giving him all the praise and stuff, and then once he became president, they became sheep like everybody else, and they showed their hand. But
Well,
unfortunately,
we'll
with
get
all
into
the
that. We'll get into
yeah,
that. I want to get to know you a little bit. I want my audience to know you a little bit before we get
mhm,
into the government stuff.
yeah,
So I want to know like what your background is, right? As far as your knowledge of politics and government, because we're
mhm,
going to be talking about some pretty extensive things as far as human rights laws. So I want to
yeah,
know, and I want my audience to know how you came across knowing these things, and how you got the knowledge of
mhm.
the things that you're talking about.
Well, it's my grandmother. I mean, I was born this way. I've been my life has been a whole list of training. When I tell people, and I think sometimes they kind of laugh, but at heart, I am a preacher's granddaughter. My
Mm-hmm.
grandfather died in the Lord, and I'm born in '83, so I'm an '80s baby. So my grandfather died in the hospital, and I was born the following year in Fontana. So same hospital, the next room over. And my grandmother, to this day, she stood up, and she raised us. My family has been through a lot as preachers' kids, being unformed, like as far as the world. They couldn't watch TV. Every day was church. That was it. They couldn't wear pants. So my family is very strict and very religious, and I respect that. It's made me who I am. And so, I don't wake up like blaming people for things they do or say. It's just my life has been teaching. And I was born, and my family was broken. Because my grandfather, he held us all together, and my grandfather was a World War II veteran. He's done like so many amazing things. We had our own church, and so when that happened, it just destroyed my family. So, we moved to Sacramento, and my grandmother picked us all up, and we made our base here. And, it's been lovely. I mean, I'm not, a perfect person by any means, but I can also live and stand in my truth. So my whole life has just been going to church, and I fled from the church. Like my grandma was so on me because it was so strict, but God always was there with me. He always had my back, and He gave me everything I wanted, but also warned me there's consequences for things that are not for me yet. So it's kind of hard sometimes to explain to people, like being a real preacher's grandkid, because like it's bred in you, it's born in me. Like things that I am what I am. So just learning, and my grandma always taught me to like do your research. If somebody tells you something, you double check that, and you double check that. And also being who I am, like nation-wise, like all the rich tribes that are just running through my veins. Like I'm so many different nationalities. It's been one of the
Go
struggles of
ahead
my
and
life.
name them. Go ahead and name them. Go ahead and name them.
I really don't like to. I really just like say I'm a child of God, but I'm African. I have a lot of African tribes, Bantu people. Ghana. My grandfather was Ethiopian. I have a lot of European nations in me. Native American. We have our doll's roll number. Like my parents went to Native American school, learned how to cook. Of course, Irish. My great grandmother's Irish. So it's just
Okay.
a mixture of things that I am,
You're
and it's
mixed.
pretty much it's just a mix of things. And I'm happy that my grandmother, like, she taught me that way, because coming up, I was always looked at like by the way I look. I was never like looked at as a person. Like, how are you? What's your name? It was always the outside of my interior, and that's something that's always bothered me. So that's why I stress so big on race, on social media, because you really don't know what we are, but we're all God's people. I mean, if you read the beginning of the Bible, it is set very clear about why he sprinkled just different skin pigmentations over the nation. And that's kind of it. And my life has just been a journey. I've been a mother, banker. I worked for a big bank. I'm not going to say their name, but very big bank. I've been around millions and trillionaires and talked to them and financed their homes and everything like that. So that was my financial experience. I also went through hard times and like had to apply for the Welfare to Work program, and I
I
took
think we've
part of
all
that
been
program.
there.
Yeah, but some people won't admit it though. And
Yeah.
I did do that. I worked for the county, and I got to see people. I got to talk to veterans. I got to help and save lives. I mean, people were stressed out because you deal with all kinds of life coming into the Department of Human Assistance. So being
Mm-hmm.
able to talk a veteran from not committing suicide, like there's just so many things that are just, a part of my cloth that it's kind of hard to explain, but it's just a part of a learning experience, and I worked
Right.
for Vision Insurance, one of the top companies in vision. What else have I done? Let's see. I worked at the animal control when I first got my first job, and I love the animals, so I was happy about that. I mean, my whole life has been like an amazing journey. There's been some good and bad times of it, but it's just made me a stronger person, stronger in my faith, and became a mom, 11 years ago, bought my first house 11 years ago, building that wealth for my kids, because it's not really my house. Of course, it's my kids' house. So building their resumes to be perfect in the way they need to be as a mother, which is my responsibility. I have an amazing husband. He's an electrician, brilliant. He's the person that's made for me. He always has my back. It doesn't matter. Like, we go to war. We go to war for our country. Like, we love our country. Very, very much so. So that's just me. It's, that's why I say it's the evolution of Jocy, because about a year ago, I started helping my uncle who's been in prison, affected by Joe Biden's 1994 crime bill.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's been wanting to be more passionate about his experiences. He's still in prison to this day. One of my favorite uncles on the earth, Charlie Munn. I love you. I think of you. But, it's so many things that are passionate that's affected my family. I come from a good grade of family. My father is a worker of cars. So he's just a man, and I'm just me. My family has stapled each part of me and who I am, and I love America, and I just can't see it just go down because of greed. It just, like, I can't,
Yeah.
I don't have to, and I'm not going to. So I'm just a very
Yeah.
strong-minded person. I teach and lead my kids the same. They know at 18 they got to go, but as a mother, I'm giving them all the tools necessary for them to be successful. They first and foremost believe in God. They believe in marriage, and they believe in everything great about America. So there's just so many things I think that have affected us all. But living in your honesty and truth is what matters the most. It's not about
Yeah.
making everybody happy, because some people
Absolutely.
you're not going to make happy, and you have to just be okay with yourself, because when you die, you're dying by yourself, just like you were born alone. You're gonna die alone, okay? And
Right.
there's nothing wrong with death. Like, there's nothing wrong with death. We all have to experience it. But the important part of it is knowing that you can die in peace, knowing that you did everything you can to make the world a better place. So
And we all
that's
know
pretty much it.
that if you're saved and with Christ, death is just the next level of it's just the next thing to eternal life with
Right, it
Christ.
is.
So at the end of the day, we can't fear what we know isn't the end.
Yeah.
We have life. So I really enjoy speaking with you on Twitter. Like, I even asked you, you guys, I asked her for her number because I was like, we have to like connect other than on Twitter, because I feel like there's so much information that she has that I like to pick her brain, and I text her all the time. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I'll have like certain discernments, and then I ask her and she tells me exactly what I was thinking. So there's some things that I want to bring, and I think we're going to start off by giving. We see, and I can see on your background that you are a Trump Pence fan,
I'm a
and
Republican.
yeah, so
I'm a
you're
Republican
she's
first
a
and foremost.
Republican.
And whoever is the best candidate is the one for the job. Simple as that.
Okay. See, I've never been a Democrat or a Republican. I'm not an independent. I've never even voted. This year, I started paying attention to politics and decided that I was for the policies that were being given currently. And what I learned from the last 4 years, what have been implemented these last 4 years, the policies that were given and were actually brought into fruition by Trump. So I'm not really a politics person. I really never got into any laws, policies until this year. So I have a lot to learn, and I'm interested. I'm super interested. I think that this is something that even after Trump is gone, I think is something that I will continue to pay attention to and continue to learn. I think that if we don't learn, we will repeat history. And so in order for us not to repeat history, we have to learn and teach our children, because they're ultimately going to be, they're ultimately our future. So there are certain things that come with humans, human law, you know, the laws that are for humans. I want you to kind of elaborate on the human laws that we have here in America.
It's not. It's not a human law. It's a God law. It's kind of simple. I really don't kind of honestly understand like the whole because people don't understand one thing about the Bible. The Bible is very clear. Okay, it's very set. It cannot be changed. It's just like the Constitution, so it cannot be altered. It's God's words, and those words are ways for us to lead and guide our life. Now, unfortunately, given a little bit too much power to government. So as far as like with the Catholic Church, there's 46 books of the Bible that are not in the Bible, and there's a reason for that, because there's knowledge. And you have to also think, I mean, we have the Old Testament, which are how a lot of our seniors look at life, and then we have the New Testament, which is how the younger people should conform and grow within Christ. But there's a lot of things that are missing within that, because it also continues and it goes on to conform about things that apply to natural day life. But even with the little book that we do have with combining, we've been repeating history. I mean, this is not the first war that America will see, but this can be the last based on who we have in charge. And I always tell people, I know people always say they shouldn't vote and their vote doesn't matter, but that's because the Democratic, it's been indoctrinated, especially in Black communities, to where, like, I'm going to be honest, like, most of my family are Democrats. Okay. Like, then when I finally took my stance, and I'm like, I've been voting since 18. Okay, I've been very involved. So it's like me telling them, oh, I'm not going to be a Democrat. It's the entire opposite of how they look at the parties. So you have the Democratic Party, who's known as the savior of the people. And then you have the Republican Party, who's known as they want to take over everything. When in truth, it's actually reverse. Okay, because the Republican Party was started by 12 free men and also some other European patriots that didn't agree with it. But you would never know that. The Democratic Party was started by the KKK. And basically, the only reason why they didn't vote to abolish slavery, but the reason why they accepted it was because they learned how to control the mind. I mean, the mind is a powerful weapon. So when you start giving free services and telling people, okay, yeah, I'm going to give you Section 8, I'm going to give you this, but you have to take away this. You have to take the power out of the home. You have to like really pretty much break down your whole family. For some people, they like it and they feel like that's the best thing for them because they're lazy and they don't want to get a job, but it's the truth. So now you have it where we're seeing the effects of it. I mean, we're seeing the effects of what the Democrat Party has offered, and it's nothing but death and destruction. It's very simple. And then you have the Republican Party that's coming back, that is fighting for the greatness of America, that's fighting to do things. But people have to understand this has been going on for 1,000 years. The things that occurred in the Old Testament, it didn't stop. It went underground and they infiltrated the churches. Okay, that's why the Catholic Church is so powerful. I have nothing against Catholics. I have Catholic friends, but it's the truth. It's this whole mindset, and it's like Operation Mockingbird. I mean, the purpose of that program was they would know when it's successful is when everybody believed that the lies were the truth. And that's why we have CNN and we have all these news stations, because their purpose is to mislead people. They don't want you to do your own
Yeah.
information and
And
research.
the Bible actually states that there will be a time when everything that is good will be known as bad and everything that is bad will be known as good.
Right. Yeah. And it's happening. But the sad thing about it is, it's the same thing how I feel about our youth. Like even in my community, like I have a lot of respect for my youth and the homeless people, even though sometimes I have to chase them down to get my stuff back, but we still talk. I'm human, I'll hug them whether they're dirty. I don't care. It's like, you don't know if that's Jesus, so I'm very passionate about talking to people, because the way when you talk to people, you get to figure out what's going on and what happened. And a lot of our homeless, they're really veterans. It's kind of sad that have mental problems, but they can't get the help they need. But nobody wants to ever talk about that. So that's why my fight is for the poor. My fight is for the voiceless. My fight, because they're strong, they're smart. You can talk to a lot of homeless people that are brilliant. I've talked to many of them my whole life, and just even our youth, there's so much they have to offer. But because of their circumstance, or because of their mother being on welfare or being on drugs or being taken and put in the system by CPS, their lives have been like alterly changed to where it's just like bitterness. So I'm not going to give up on them. I'm not going to give up on my homeless or my veterans or my country, because we're not talking anymore. It's like, especially now with social media, everybody's on their phone. They don't want to sit down and have a conversation. They rather hide behind a keyboard, and that's just something I won't do. And I always tell people, the same person you see me on Twitter, you're going to meet in person. And I'm just as disrespectful. And I only act that way when somebody is trying to debate me about something we can both look up together. Like if there was really a concern that you had and you didn't know, or you're not involved in politics, we can sit down and we can look it up together. I have time, I don't mind it. I have time for all of humanity, because that's again how I was raised. That's what I was born into, like a family of love. So love is my natural instinct, not
Right.
hate.
So, as far as human rights laws, what can you give us as far as other than you know um, what you were just saying? What what about human right laws can you give us so that we know what we're working with as far as the laws are concerned?
All right. So the whole point, like even with my podcast that I'm going to be starting soon, is about we have to really kind of go back to basics as Americans. We have to go back to the Constitution, and we have to really look at it for what it stands for, because it is a living and breathing document. And just as an example, like even with all this stuff going on with COVID, I mean, you can take a government suggestion that you don't have to do anything. We really don't have to close our businesses. We really don't have to do anything. Their purpose with government is just to be there to be like more of an accounting firm. So as they're collecting taxes from us, which is illegal, that is not in the
Illegal.
Constitution, they're there to literally just keep things at peace. They're not there to keep us in wars. They're not there for their own personal vendetta. They're not there for any of that. They're not supposed to
Right.
be attacking us religiously, but we've given the religious churches so much power to where we're really slaves. It's like being in like a dream in the twilight zone and you don't even know it. So we have a right. We have a right to adhere and listen and say, okay, well, is this going to work for my family? But you don't have to really do anything, okay, technically. But I think by the Constitution being so, how do I say it? Like, okay, they took it out of schools, because when I was coming up, we were talking about that in school. We were talking about
Hmm.
economics, which is how you balance your checkbook, which is how you open up a bank account. Like, there's so many things that we were taught. There was welding classes. There was just ROTC. Like, there was just so many different aspects about life, about how a man and a woman come together to procreate. Okay, not the other. Okay. So there was just so many things that we were taught about, but at the correct timing. So when you were in elementary school, it was more being patriotic to your country, like saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, learning your numbers, learning basic math, learning how to
Right.
interact with people, learning how to respect your elders and respect your peers. And then you got to junior high, which got more in depth with those subjects, and also with science and electricity, and then just basic things you do, like you're a volcano at home. And then high school is like preparing you to be an adult. And now you don't have any of those things. And even if you had like a parent that was working for like hours and maybe they couldn't pick you up. You had after school centers where you had people like adults, young adults that would come there, volunteer. They would get paid through the summer program, but you would actually do other things. They would help you with your homework. They would take a load off of parents. And now you don't have any of that. We had elder centers, like our senior centers when we were kids, we would go to and help our seniors, and we would go talk to our vets. We have police officers, like as long as I can remember, I had my favorite police officer, Officer Walker, who would come and he would joke with us and he would laugh. We had such a respect for law enforcement to where it was just like what I'm seeing now, it's just hurtful,
Yeah.
like all the attacks and stuff. So a lot of the set, like with Trump's 1776 Patriotic Act, that's really kind of going back to basics. It's bringing back God to our schools, because when we took God out of our schools, like that really took us down to a path of hell. I'm just being honest. Okay, like it took us to a bad road, because now we're not talking. Now you have bullying. Now you have things going on that are very inappropriate. And I'm just going to give a clear example for what my son experienced. My son's is my oldest son at the time was in the second grade, and my son is very athletic. Okay, he loves all people. He loves having fun. He loves being a kid. And so the fact
Mhm.
that he wanted to race with another bully, and he's a strong-minded person, because his father and I, we teach him that. So it starts at home, and so he stood his ground, and he told the boy, I don't mind racing with you, but I'm not going to like race for you for something I don't know what's going to be the end of it. So he ended up racing the boy. And then at the end, the boy wanted him to kiss another boy. Okay. And he said no. Okay. And my son fought 12 people. They pull my son's hair. My son's hair is down to the middle of his back. Okay, they pull my son's hair out his scalp. Do you know the school did not call me? My son ran to the after school program because I'm an involved parent. So the after school director called me, and my son was crying, and my son never cries. Okay, he never cries. And when I got up there and I inspected my son, and I see my son like that with his scalp bleeding, it was a day before his birthday. And of course, me and my husband were outraged. We went up to the school, we start naming like the laws, how much they get paid by the federal government, and we're looked at as hard to work with parents. And that's what's sad, because like we're just standing up for what we know is American and what we know is right. And so after all of that, I just had to really kind of calm down. I thought a police report. My son went to counseling. And then when you call the schools, they just don't take any accountability. And also another thing, it's like when President Trump got elected, my kids were like crying outside thinking they were being deported. And I'm just like, what? Like as a parent, it's just like so many things that are just too adult that are in our young schools that are just like so disrespectful to the parents. It doesn't make any sense. And so it all kind of goes back to just knowing like the Constitution, knowing your rights, but also in the Bible, it says, very clearly, yes, government is there, but you don't have to listen to anything. You can always take it as an suggestion. Just don't do anything evil. That's all it basically says. Like, just because you're unhappy with the government or you're mad, you don't go and, massacre a bunch of people. You just have to fight legally. Okay, if enough of us fought legally together collectively, the government would not be this big. But because we have bills, our taxes are going up, parents are so stressed out to where those things they can't even think of. And that's why I've been just like really passionate, because I just think we've just been kicked so long. Like we've been kicked down so long to where it's just like we just don't have a lot of fight left in us. And
But
now it's time to
that's
do
the attack of the enemy, is to
it.
keep
Yeah.
us so bogged down with the cares of life that
Mhm.
we don't have time, to do anything
Right.
other than to work and stress out about bills. And
Right.
and like Trump said, like we need to get back to a place where there doesn't need to be two parents in the household working, where we
Right.
can have a father working, a mother taking care of her
Mhm.
children, and
Mhm.
it the other way around if it fits for your
Mhm.
family. But he's
Right.
always saying that right now the way that it's set up is rigged for the family to fall apart.
Right, and it's very true. I mean, whatever works for everybody, but there's like two sets of laws, and I think like we have the law of the land, and we have the law of the sea, and I think a lot of people don't really know about maritime law. The only reason I really know about it is because my brother Frank, or you can find him on Twitter at Frank S19 SI9, excuse me. But he's been educating me, because I'm new to Twitter. Like, I don't know everything, but I'm learning how to work Twitter as far as like the different process. But, I just have like um, a handful, a little group of people, on my beginning journey of like being on social media that are just like my glue. And it's so funny because like we don't have to really say a lot to each other, but we sometimes, if we're like on a subject we're researching and we may not know, we'll like hit each other up and be like, hey, do you know about this? Do you know about that? So he
Right.
actually woke me up to maritime law. And I really didn't know how much that was involved with the law of the land and how much the church, like the Catholic Church, had to do with that, with our rights. And like when you have babies and like it's just like all this stuff. So I definitely would advise for people to look into it. I can read a few things as far as like how they apply to us, if the viewers would like, just so they can know how much it affects you. I think people just don't know, like you said, because we're all busy, like we're all doing things. We can't look up these things all the time because they don't know where to look. They don't have
Yeah.
the tools and the necessary information or the keywords to find the answer they're seeking. So
Or
I
it
can
gets
definitely,
blocked.
yeah,
It gets
I'm
blocked
looking,
out of a public's eye, and then no one can ever find it.
right. So you have, let's see. So you have the maritime law, which it involves your birth certificate, citizenship. That's the 14th Amendment. Leadership, withdrawal, currency, liquid assets if your account has been frozen, bail, bankruptcy, bar examination. You have your court dockets, your survivorship, cash flow, liquidation. So all these things are involved, like disbarment or sidebars. You have your worship, which is floating your company or deposits, your loan sharks, your frozen assets, your bailiff, discharge, ownership. There's just so many things, and all of these things are sea law. And I think not knowing, like when they say the Holy See, they're referring to maritime. It's not like the actual Holy See, but it's just letting you know how much the church has just like had this veil on our head and has completely like, this is the worstest human experiment ever. I mean, that's the best I can say because by the time you even wake up, it's like it's already over.
Yeah.
But let me see if I can read one just quickly that's very important to people as far as like the process. Give me 1 second if you don't mind.
No,
Okay.
go ahead.
Now we have, as far as voting, which is why this is something I always fight for. Okay. So you have your elector. The Electoral College of Electors are the ones that actually determine who will be president, not any popular vote, poll, media, or statistic. An elector is not subject to exclusively legislate power of Congress. Almost anyone can be an elector. You do not have to be a registered voter or a party member. Currently, there are 538 elector positions. It now takes 270 electoral votes to win the presidential election. Okay, now you also have your voter. So registering to vote is the admission that the declarant is subject to the exclusive legislative power of the corporate Congress and is the 14th Amendment citizen residing in federal territory. The right to vote at any election is denied except for participation in rebellion or other crimes. Section 2 of the 14th Amendment U.S. Constitution. Rather than remaining a state national, one can become a U.S. citizen by participating in the rebellion by voting in the corporate government system and or signing the benefits and privileges, which is what all U.S. citizens sign up for. Okay, so stop and think, okay, for a moment as to voting. When you vote for an office to be filled in the United States of America or one of the sub corporations, example, the state of Texas, you have voted to fill a fictional corporation position designed to represent the corporation, not a political position, to represent the people. All elections in the United States are nothing more than proxy fights in a boardroom. And that's literal facts. So that's a part of maritime law. Okay, like
Wow.
those are basic things. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So there's a lot we need to learn, huh?
That's okay.
So, okay. Let's, because time is getting away from us. Let's move on to the sex trafficking.
Okay.
I want to talk about some sex trafficking um So yeah, so let's talk about how Trump promised to eradicate sex trafficking. A lot of people don't believe that this is what he's doing. They don't believe that because he doesn't talk about it much. But we had
Mhm.
a Dr. Phil episode that exposed CPS as well,
Mhm.
right? And
Correct.
I don't know if a lot of people saw this, but if you can look on here, it says child trafficking, accepting bribes, brainwashing, raping, murdering.
Mhm.
Um, they have organ trafficking, sex trafficking, kidnapping, drugging, torturing, and isolating. These are all crimes against humanity, and this is all the things that Donald Trump talks about
Mhm.
when he talks about eradicating sex trafficking. Um,
Mhm.
I have a couple of articles that I want to put up real quick before we start
Mhm.
talking about it because I want to prove to people that just because the mainstream media doesn't talk about it doesn't mean it's not happening. So let me go ahead and put these up for you. I'm going to put them up for a couple minutes each. Everyone is welcome to screenshot them or go to DuckDuckGo and you can look up some of the things that are happening. So Springfield
Mhm.
man, woman charged with sex trafficking, child sex trafficking, guys. This was not too long ago on September 29th.
Mhm.
They were sex trafficking a 15-year-old little girl.
Mhm.
This is the recent, right? So you can go look this up and read the article on your own, guys. U.S. Marshals rescued another 25 missing sex trafficked children, and this was I want to say this month. No,
That
this
was
was in
August
July.
31st. That was August
Was it
31st.
August 31st? Okay. So this is August 31st that this happened. And mind you, let's keep in mind that none of this stuff was in the media. None of it was in mainstream. None of
Of
it.
course, it doesn't fit their narrative.
And then
Mhm.
U.S. Marshals recover another 39 children in Operation Georgia, and another operation in Georgia. And this was recent as well. I can't really see, but I think this was July or maybe
It
later
was
than
August
that.
20. It was August 27th, 2020.
August 27th. So all of this is in the last month, 2 months.
Mhm.
Here's another one. This is in my city, guys. U.S. Marshals operation underway to rescue near Indianapolis. They came and they rescued. I couldn't find the article for some reason, but this was September 1st or 2nd.
It was in
And
September.
they came and they rescued and they're supposed to be back to rescue some more. So and this is under Operation Legend. So that's just some articles to show you about the topic that we're about to talk about right now. Trump does not, other than saying that he is ending sex trafficking, that he is working on eradicating. He uses the word eradicating. Okay, I feel like doing one of his numbers.
Mhm.
Eradicating. Okay, he talks
Mhm.
about getting rid of it completely, and that is the reason, the majority of the reason for the wall. He started with the wall so he can contain what was going on in here. It wasn't because he's a racist and doesn't like immigration. It's because there is too many drugs and too many children. And when he says drugs, he's talking about not only drugs that are man-made, but he's talking about adrenochrome. Adrenochrome is a drug that gets brought here through children. You
No,
get this
it's
drug
not
from
brought. No,
children.
no, 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 no. It's not brought here. It's already here. um,
They do sell kids here though from
Well,
Mexico.
yeah, but the thing about it is, it's not. That's. I mean, why do you think CPS is so big, and why do you think like human trafficking is so big? Because it's what they're doing is they're taking kids. Okay, it doesn't matter if they're in the USA or they're coming from the border. They are taking kids and they are torturing them. And when they torture them, in their brain, the pineal gland,
Right.
it releases natural adrenochrome. We all have this. Okay, and then from that, I mean, basically going back biblical, they're literally doing cannibalism, or it is patent. I mean, now they have it where they can extract it and make it into makeup or make it into like little serum. It was on Oprah. There was a lady
Yeah.
on Oprah that literally
It
said
was
she
on
was using
Ellen.
baby skin. Yeah, it was on, of course,
Sandra
Ellen.
Bullock. Sandra Bullock was
Yeah,
talking about her facials and what body parts of a baby it had in it. We're
right.
not
Yeah,
going to go into names or nothing, but
Well,
Um,
no, we can go into names because it doesn't make sense to like for one, like for them people to even do what they do. Like I have no respect for them, nor am I going to shield them because at the end of the day, like if that was something that you believe in, like you should have been executed a long time ago. In my personal feeling, because for one, kids are very pure, they're very intelligent, and the fact that they're scaring kids and the methods they use and they're destroying families. Like I'm not here to protect Ellen. Oprah, Chrissy Teigen, John Legend, Obama, aka Barry Soetoro, Michael LaVon Robinson, like they all can get it. Okay, they all can get it. And I'm not scared. I'm not like, oh my God, yeah, who cares? Like do what you want, okay? Because at the end of the day, like God has my back and God is behind me. So they don't get any pass
right.
on me. They don't get any
That's
pass.
right. And you mentioned give me 1 second. I'm going to direct everyone real quick. I need everyone that's watching or everyone that's gonna watch to go hit that like and bell, subscribe,
Mhm.
please. Go on over to Facebook to official Wanna Talk and go hit that join button to join my page so you can get all updates of what we're doing. We're bringing you raw information. People get blocked for this stuff, and we really don't care. So we're about to bring it to you. Let's get it.
And
All right.
also
So,
too, and
mhm,
just also before you continue, I apologize for the interruption, but for people that do want to see different things that are occurring behind closed doors, you're more than welcome to find me and my sister Star on Warriors for All Children. We post a lot of content, we post laws, we post updates, because at the end of the day, we're fighting for the voiceless. So if you ever want to get any information or just kind of like find out what's going on to see the results of what's occurring under President Trump's presidency, you're more than welcome to go to the channel. It is a private club, but we're not judgmental. We have a purpose and we have a goal. So please, if you're on Facebook, definitely hit up Warriors for All Children. My sister Star, she's so sweet. She'll guide you. We offer welcomes. We do morning prayers to start our day before we show the evilness of man. So please, 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 if you're on there, definitely subscribe to Warriors for All Children on Facebook. Thank you. Thank
we're
you.
gonna put your information in our description box. We'll make sure that we put all your social media so people can connect with you as well if they want information from you or if they have information for you they can definitely hit you up. So you mentioned CPS. Now you know my story, you've heard my story.
Yeah.
um and I am a product of CPS trafficking and everything that you hear about how CPS moves is so true. It's I know people aren't believing it. Oh, how CPS is involved. How are the police involved in trafficking children? Listen, listen. It's been happening, and I'm about to be 40 next year. Okay, I was trafficked from age 8 to 16. So definitely,
Yeah.
it's happening, and it's been
It does
happening a
happen.
long time.
It has, yeah, it happened to my sister, and the one thing I always fight for it because like people they just destroyed my sister, like they destroyed her for nothing, and to see that, it's just like it doesn't make any sense, and it's like they always use the drug narrative where the parent, is on the drugs or whatever, but I see my
Yep.
sister fight and conquer, and that's why I'm always passionate about kids because like lives are destroyed. You send them to a home that is just like they don't even want to be a foster parent, they just want the money. They do sexual things to your kids, they traumatize your kids, and then like their lives are destroyed, and there's no like human kindness anymore. It's like instead of like back in the day when mothers were going through drug use or having some hard times in life, like as a community collectively, like we came together, we didn't tear each other down. And now there's no more of that. Instead, they'll just tear the mother down and to where she just like loses hope. And it's like I refuse it. Like CPS, they're bad. Like they're a corporation, just like our
They are.
government is. Yeah.
And they hire police
Yeah.
that are not really police. They're kind of like,
They're bad actors. They're called.
yeah, they're like bodyguard type wannabe people who have bad backgrounds as far as criminal, and they hire them to go in there like police officers to take your children.
Correct. Yeah, they do a lot of stuff. I mean, they do a lot of stuff. I mean, people will be amazed at how everything is connected. That's why I think it's so hard to explain, because you have so many different factions that you think are there to protect you, but under the guise, like they're all working against you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just so many, like the CIA and the Catholic Church, the Jesuits, like they're all connected. You know, and you would think looking at them that they're like holy men of God and they love God, but no, they're not. They're actually evil people that is hiding behind God, to make them like be believable, basically, because that's the only thing that
Sheep
connects
in
people with
wolves'
them.
clothing.
Yeah,
That's
I
all
mean,
they
God
are.
brings us all together, but the end result is that there's the hate, because then you have people that start blaming God for free will and free choice, and it's really not God's fault. I mean, the free will and free choice is because we all have the freedom of choice to do as we please. So no,
Exactly.
there's always consequences to what you choose. You know, you have to
Yep.
research, you have to make your own informative decision. Like, stop following these churches, stop listening to them. If they're telling you to do tithes, then it's time to leave that church. Okay, if they're telling you how to live your life and how to dictate and how to do this, that's not the place for you. Just seek God's word, and whatever you're not perfect in, I'm really just telling y'all, you know, get back to God in the basic sense, not in the complicated sense as far as you have to go back
Yep.
through and nitpick your life, but as far as like just being open with God and talking to God. Like, for me, it's like God is my best friend. I love God. Like, I talk to him like I talk to you, and I have no problems. And whatever I receive, I receive. I accept it gladly. But I don't blame God, and I'm like, oh, you know, my life is so horrible. Like, I can wake up, I can do whatever I want,
Mhm.
I can open my mouth, you know, and that's the greatness of God.
But in a
It's the
sense,
patience.
that's what God wants you to do is come as you are. He doesn't
Yeah,
want you
but
to
how would
take
you
a
know that though? Like when you go
what?
to church, like when you go to church, like how would you know that's what God wants from you? Because when you go to church, you're immediately ushered in to
True.
sign a paper for
But that's
membership.
what we need to that's what we need to show people, like the building and the
It's a dwelling, yeah, for the church.
I don't want to say it's a cult, you know what I'm saying? Because it's kind of, but there are some churchy cults out there. But I want to say, like, the tradition of a church, the tradition of church, that is not godly. That's man made. A tradition of churches, that's all like made by a man. You know what I'm saying? Like they say, okay, at this moment you're gonna take communion. At this moment you're gonna kneel. At this moment you're gonna do this. And then when church is done, you're gonna be doing this, this, this. That's all like that's not godly. You know what I'm saying? God
Well,
gives you an
I think
instruction.
Yeah, but I think you have to look at it like how the Bible is written, and the Bible is written with man. So it kind of goes hand in hand. I mean, I do think that churches have taken a little bit too much credit for what God has given them, but I do think some people need control. Like, some people need to go to church. I'm sorry, some people need to be told sometimes, but it's not what you do, it's how you do it. So the church is there for a reason, but it's not there to tell you, it's not there for the pastor to be God. That's not what the church is there for. The church
Correct.
is there for you to learn how to understand the Bible, ask
Correct.
questions, collectively grow together. I mean,
Hmm.
it's all there, you know. But you have, it's like the devil. This is like the devil's on earth. So it's like this is what it is, you know. And unfortunately, we've been repeating history, so we're just like repeating the same thing from Moses. I mean, why do you think it took Moses 40 years and he still couldn't even go into the promised land? Because he went against God. So God is showing you clearly how he
Yep.
moves. All you have to do is answer, and he'll provide those, you know, those questions. Just ask
Absolutely.
God, he'll give them to you. So it's all a purpose. It's just they're using it all for money and control. That's it, you know.
Like I told you the other day, these big churches, they, you
Hmm.
know, a long time ago traded God's power for money. And this is why you see now churches empty from the power of God, of the Holy Spirit. And it's all about big churches and big monies and TVs in the churches and pastors with big cars, and that's what they traded. You know what I'm saying? That's what they gave up. They gave up God's power and healing and all of that and for money.
Yeah, but they also did it in the Old Testament too. So that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of things are just a repeat of history, because a lot of the same things that we're going through now, that's in the Old Testament. I mean, it's very
Right.
clear, what's kind of been happening. And like I said, I think it's just like just depression, because some people just be like, oh my gosh, like what am I gonna do? But all of this stuff is in the Bible. It's just we're just repeating and repeating and repeating. But what people have to understand is we're getting to the end times. Like, God is tired now, because now you're blatantly telling him like that you don't care. Like, you're blatantly saying, you know, I'm gonna give up my soul for the money of all evil, root to all evil. And that's out of God, it's of man. So when you choose the side of man over the side of God, you get what you get. You know what I mean? Like, I can only pray for your soul, but I'm not going to definitely feel sorry because you have free choice. So I just
That's
think we
right.
have to just come back and start talking to each other and start figuring out how can we help versus putting people down and acting like you're better. Like, nobody's better. We all go through problems. We all have issues. We all have bad days. But the big thing is not kicking somebody when they're down. You're supposed to love your neighbor. You're supposed to love people. You're supposed to love because God loves us. He loves, he can, if he can send his only son down here to forgive our sins, like, we have a lot of faith,
Absolutely.
and God continues to forgive us. But what you're not going to do is you're not going to keep disrespecting God. So I hope that people take this message and heed, not as judgment, but from a place of love, that it's time to get back to the basics and start talking to God like you talk to your boo thing, or, whoever else you're talking to when the lights go off, and just come back. Because if you don't,
Yeah,
you're gonna be pretty heartbreaking when you get what you get.
absolutely. And with that being said, we're gonna switch on over here to um POTUS and the whole and the whole COVID situation. I had to say something because I was freaking out yesterday. Like, what?
I know. Oh, but
So
also too, before we go to that, I have to tell you. So for people that want to look it up and make sure that Trump is doing his job, you can
yes,
definitely look up the executive order that he passed December 21st, 2017. It's
hmm
the order protecting, basically against, like, South. Like, let me read it verbatim so I don't get it all messed up because I have
let's
it
do
in my
it. Let's
head.
do it. I mean,
I
you
just
can
read
always
it.
go to the website, to the White House website, and look at all the
Right.
executive orders.
So you can see on my phone, I don't know if you can see it, but it's the executive order blocking the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corruption. So basically what that means is anybody worldwide that are engaging in these activities, first we will strip your property, meaning you have nothing. Since you sold your soul to the devil, you take it away. It's Americans' money. And then also too, military tribunal. I mean, people have to understand that a lot of these people that you guys want, you're not going to see it. You know what I mean? Because military is the highest court of the law. They don't televise executions. So
Right.
don't worry. Just have faith in God. Like, everything's happening as we speak. Just know that Gitmo is pretty full. I have the request order from 2018 where they ordered extra padding and so forth from the U.S. Army. So know that God is working in our favor. So just have some faith and have some patience.
And they just recently, from what I saw, they just recently warned Guantanamo that there was going to be high executive government level people being brought there.
They're already there. Why do you think
So
he passed that order? Yeah, they're already there. I mean, and Patriots know. That's why, like, one thing on Twitter, like, we know, like, we stick together like glue, like, we know. And that's why I think we're so, like, at peace with everything, because we've been out there doing our research. We've been communicating. We've been fighting passionately with each other across the world. We've been really coming together. So we know, and it's already done. It's been happening since 2017. You're just not going to see it because if you look up military tribunal law, it's very clear they don't do public executions. They don't do public hearings. That's why on the federal level, all these people are going to court. We're taking back the money federally, even though it's illegal. And you get that back, and then it's off with your head. So that's the best way.
I'm not off with your head.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the whole COVID thing with POTUS.
Mm-hmm.
Um, everyone's speculating, right? Everyone is
Mm-hmm.
speculating what's going on. Could he possibly be having COVID? Did somebody give him COVID? Did did the left come in and give him, like, switch his test out, and now he got swabbed and there was COVID in his thing? But let me just say this, okay? The day that they presented Gurnett, what is it, Burnett, the new
Amy?
justice, Amy,
Amy?
right?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the seating and all the people that they say got COVID,
Mm-hmm.
everyone is scattered except for the first row, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kellyanne Conway is like way across there, but nobody behind these people in the front row got COVID.
Yeah.
The President Trump is way at the front and he got COVID. But
Right.
and but Amy, is it Amy?
Yeah, Amy.
Amy didn't get COVID. She don't got COVID. You know what I'm saying? But she was standing right next to Trump. So,
Yeah.
what in the world do you think is going on?
To be honest, I just think Trump is doing what he's doing. I mean, he's a genius. He's brilliant. If anybody knows
I
about
believe so
Trump,
too.
yeah. If anybody knows about Trump, it's like Trump moves in silence. He's not going to show you. And there's certain ways, like with the system that we're up against, it's a big system. It's not something that it just happens overnight. Like we've been fighting this for a long time. So he can't come out and be like, oh my gosh, like they're lying. I mean, we all know that COVID is patent. I mean, it's not rocket science by the Bill Gates and Melinda Gates Foundation. And
Yep.
for the first batch that they did patent, it's basically like human blood, animal blood injected with SARS and through your
SARS
um
too.
yeah, so through the star, so through hemoglobin, it separates. And then since we
Hmm.
love animals, I mean, they can market that any way. It just attached to a human host, and that's it. But the way the body works is as soon as you have something foreign in your body, your
It
mind,
attacks
it
it.
knows, it attacks it, and it has a cure
Hmm.
for it. That's why we should be going outside. That's why you should be taking zinc. It's like
Exactly.
so many different things. So I just think it's more of a military move because honestly, like people are believing the media anyways. I mean, all they talk about is COVID. So it's like I'm so sick of hearing about COVID right now. Like I have the patent for
Girl.
COVID. I have the patent for COVID. So it's like it's not like so it just kind of gets frustrating. And I honestly, in my heart, I just feel like what he's doing is taking a step back, building back up his strength and letting the chips fall where they fall. And meaning that and saying it's like all these indictments against the Obama administration, Hillary, Benghazi, we ain't forgetting about Benghazi. It's not going away. So there's just so many things that really need to come to light. And I feel like with Trump taking a side, like a step back, he's showing American people, like, I'm going to show you who they are. Since you obviously believe these people and you're taking their word at face value, then let me take a step back so you can see what's really happening.
Oh
And
yeah.
then
He's
once it
according
becomes uncontrollable, the news will show it. So
according to the left, he's dying. He's on his last breath.
right, yeah.
But the doctors keep coming out like he's fine. He's
Well, for one,
okay.
it's impossible because Trump doesn't smoke. He's never done drugs. He's never
He's
drunk
been
alcohol.
taking hydrochloroquine the
Well,
whole
not even,
time.
not even, well, not even that. His body is magnificent. He's never smoked a cigarette. He's never drunk alcohol. Like, do you know how your body is when it's at that state? It's like it's not gonna happen. Okay, they're just mad and things aren't going the way they want it to go. They're trying to mess with Amy and go after religious people, which is just so freaking stupid because like Nancy says she's a Catholic, Sleepy J says he's a Catholic, but you're attacking a Catholic. So it just doesn't make sense.
Well, it makes sense that they're Catholics. Catholics, especially on
Not
that
all of
high
them.
order when they hang out with the Pope and all of them. Yes. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
regular
they're not
Catholics.
real Catholics though. They're not real Catholics. That's the problem. It's like it's just like Christians. You're making the good Christians and the
Look
the
back.
good Muslims and the good, like you're making them look bad because you got the bad actors out there that just don't care about anything but themselves, and they're swaying people based on standing behind their faith when they really don't have faith. Their faith is Baphomet or Mullah. I mean, Baal. That's their faith. Okay, so when you don't know that and you think these people are good people and then you start seeing who they really are, I think people are just going to have a hard time. And, unfortunately, it's going to come out. And I'm not going to lie. I'm going to have my popcorn. I'm going to be expecting a bunch of apologies for being called a house Negro and all kind of other names. I'm waiting because the names and things I've been called is just not of God. Okay, I've heard people call Trump the Antichrist when the Antichrist is right in your face. I mean, Obama was, if you want to technically say it, he's done so many bad things that just I don't get it. And he has like a lot of black people and a lot of Mexicans, like he has them under his like spell. I can't even describe it. Like it just bothers my spirit because
It
no
is.
matter
It is
what kind of evidence
disgusting.
you have, you can have all the evidence in the world and these people still think this man was the best thing ever. For one, he's not.
Yes.
Like he's trying to destroy us. Like for real.
And
Like he really
clearly,
right.
he's
I
not
just yeah.
he's not a man of God, and because he's let's go here, he's gay, and his
Right.
husband is a whole man.
Barry Soetoro is his real name. His birth certificate is fake. It was proven on CNN. Okay, for one, and for two, Michael Levon Robinson, her brother confirmed she's a man. So I'm not trying to
Yes.
hear nothing about anything. Okay, I'm really not.
Yes.
Her name's Michael. Okay, Michael. Her mama in her will says she left everything to Michael, not Michelle.
Michael.
Okay,
And it's funny how you can show people Obama You
Mm-hmm.
can show Obama a video of Obama saying "me and Michael" when he's
Yeah.
referring to his wife. And
Right.
then in the DNC, she comes out with a necklace that says Mike. Who wears a necklace that says
Okay.
Mike?
But my
Are you
thing is, no
telling me
matter.
this stuff?
But
Oh,
I'm gonna tell you something. For all the men out there, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, like her anaconda. I don't care what. No, I know they've seen it swinging. Okay, I don't care because I've seen it. So, I mean,
Yo,
but
I
it's
said
something
the
like
same
no,
thing.
because she's done a couple men things like men things that men do, you know. And I didn't want to say nothing, but after I seen the back of her shoulders that look like a linebacker, I'm sorry, them
I mean, I
shoulders
got some
is
large
for the
shoulders.
NFL.
I got some large shoulders though. I don't really put
Nah,
no shoulders past
no.
nobody because I got some
No,
large.
no. But linebacker shoulders is a men thing. That's not a woman thing. Yes, some women are heavy at the top, but you can tell the difference structurally as the body from a male body and a female body. It's entirely different. Okay, I'm sorry, it's different. You know, you may have some thick shoulders, but it's not looking like a linebacker. That's a complete difference. Like, no, she's a man. Okay, I'm
That's a
sorry.
man. That's a
Yeah,
man. That's a man. And people
yeah.
don't want to believe it. That was the most beautiful floatus in
It's
the
gonna break their
world.
heart. It's gonna break their heart. I'm telling you, I got my kettle corn and everything ready because like I am so ready. I'm just like ready for the truth to come out because
Me
people are just
too.
like they're getting more disrespectful, like they're getting more evil, and it's like I can't
Horrible.
take it. Yeah, it's to
Let me
this
ask you a
day.
question. Let me tell you something. If Biden, okay,
Mm-hmm,
if Hillary, if
mm-hmm,
Obama, as much as I don't like Obama, if they caught COVID and they were in the hospital, I would never get online and wish death. Death.
right. Yeah, death on somebody. No matter
Do
how much
you
you don't
know
like them.
how many death comments on Twitter right now? And do you
Yeah.
know that Facebook said that Zuckerberg just put out, it's okay that people wish death on Trump on Facebook as long as they don't tag him.
Yeah, he's just, he's a Rockefeller, so I don't expect anything less from him. So, kind of is what it is.
On top of
They're
which,
all
they're trading, they're sex slaving people on Facebook and on Twitter. So
well, yeah. Well, Zuckerberg is he just lost his appeal in Texas from a judge for sexually exploiting kids. So I just think he's just in his feelings. You know, they're all about to go to Congress again. Let's see if they. I just need some better people. Like if they have Adam Schiff there, like I need a Nunez. You know what I mean? I need my Republicans there to just like let him go to town. My Ted Cruz's.
Adam Schiff
You
should
know,
not be allowed to be on anything until
right?
whatever is going on is decided. Because come on, man, Brennan.
Yeah, he's a bad
Let,
person.
let's go. Let's go here. Brennan
Huh.
in his whole Brennan in the whole
Oh yeah.
court. He didn't.
Hmm.
Trump said, "How does he not know anything? But he's writing all these books. Like how every
Right.
question you don't know, but
Right.
you are
Yeah.
on every paper signed. You signed off on everything."
Yeah, but they're not going to get away with it. So that's the thing I think why Trump is staying back because like there's a lot of things that are happening. Like on C-SPAN, you can watch the House of Representatives and see them testify, but of course the news is going to show it. But there's ways, and right now it's not getting enough attention, but it's getting into a boil basically where there's like no other way you can contain it. I mean, the media can't contain it. It's already mainstream, and patriots are in control, and we're coming, and we're knocking. We're not asking no questions. We're done talking because at this point, the stuff they've done to America for control, like with all these riots, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, whatever you want to call them, I don't know. But long story short, what they're doing is just like it's so disrespectful. It's so un-American. For one, you guys need to go out and get a job. You're mad because of the colleges that parents pay thousands and thousands of dollars for our kids to go to better their life. You're indoctrinating our kids and making them hate their own country. So you need to go. So I just think like at this point, once this is all settled and over, I really feel like Americans need to have the opportunity, which I know they are because of Ivanka's Trump initiative for change and do something better. Basically, meaning if
Yeah,
you have a high school diploma, you can get a government job. We need to get back in our own government because we love our country. We have a heart. And we're not out here to make ourselves look better. We just want to wake up every day, go to work, take care of our family, We want to live off of our land, okay, and take the race bait out of it. Like the race card is just working my soul. I'm so tired of hearing about races, who's better, who's right. There's no superior person. God is superior to Jesus Christ. Okay, that's it. So if you believe in God, whether it's Allah, whether it's whoever it is, Mother Mary, Saint Mary, I apologize, Catholics, that's no disrespect, but whoever your person is, just come back to it and stop thinking about selfish things. Stop thinking about entitlement, validation. Just do you. And if you do you and it comes from your heart, God will bless you. But as soon as you start leading people to hell, okay, you may have a good role at it, but now time's up. So
Okay. So with that all being said, we're rounding to the end of our show. I hope that you guys really enjoyed it. Please, again, I'm going to put Jocy's information in the caption at the bottom. I will get everything from her. I got her Twitter, and I got
It's Jocy. It's Jocy.
Jocy. Why do I call you Jocy? Because it's easy. It's my accent. Okay. It's my accent.
No, everybody does it. Like even when they see my name, because my aunt named me, so it's JOCYLNN. But when they see it, they be like JOCYLNN or Jocy. I'm like, no.
Jocy. Okay, Jocy. I'm gonna put Jocy's name on all my information for YouTube. So you guys can go ahead and go to her thing on Twitter. I'm also gonna tweet out her information. I'm gonna have her send me. Do you have an Insta?
I do, but I don't use it like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
basically, to make it simple for everybody, like my Facebook, you find me on Warriors for Children. That's just simple. Just do Warriors for Children. And then on all the like Gab or Parler or Twitter, I'm under the Evolution of Jocy. That's it. So it's not like complicated. Same handles. You'll find me. You'll see me there screaming loud. You'll see me being patriotic, being direct. And if you want to engage.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So my last thing is, guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell. I need you guys to ding that bell for me. I need to hear it loud and clear, please. Because I'm not on here a lot. Okay, I'm on here when I find some really good content and some people who are willing to bring you their mind, their heart, and willing to talk about it and really be real about stuff. Okay, so this is where I'm at right now until I can figure out what I want to do on a week to week.
And then secondly, also the correction. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. Take off the LYN. It's just the Evolution of Jocy.
Yeah, it's just JOCY, right?
Yeah, just want to make sure. Sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry. You was being passionate. I apologize, ma'am.
So I guess I have one more question for you, okay? As far as we touched on it a little bit, but I want to know, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how you feel, like what number you feel that we are heading towards a victory in Trump 2020 landslide, and 2, justice for mankind for the crimes against humanity that have been happening this whole time in life.
Yeah, well, I definitely will say for both of those questions, it's definitely above 10. As far as like justice for humanity, I feel like we are coming back to it because we've all been affected in one way or the other by COVID. We've all been, we don't have to do it, but American, we just love. So we don't use hate first. We use love. So we've been complying temporarily right now, trying to just get ourselves together and worry about our family. But I do feel like with everybody being at home, the only option they really have is to research, because you're teaching your kids now some skills you have to brush up on. So you may go on the internet and it may pop in your head. So I do feel like a lot of things are coming out in the open. There are people that are looking outside of the normal media channels to kind of educate themselves or get more real news versus like all the craziness. And for those that, believe in the news stations, definitely try OWN. I mean, they're very open. They talk about worldwide events, what's going on in every country, the things we're not seeing. C-SPAN is good to catch up on what's going on politically, what's going on in the House of Representatives or the House Intel Committee. And then as far as, let's see, the crimes against humanity, and that's been happening. That's been happening since Trump has and I just feel like you're not going to really see it because all the people are involved. So it's like, think about it this way. If you have a news station, right, that's involved in these same activities, of course you're not going to report on it because they're guilty. So basically following the Department of Justice site, there's a pledge order on there that I'm an online digital advocate for, where you can post updates. You can have like different tools to like protect your kids from being online, things like that. So I do think everything's kind of actually coming quite well. It took a long time. It took a long time to get
And
to where
we're
we are
just now
today.
learning about it. This has been going
Right.
on
But it's been
since
going on
Trump
for a
got
long
in there.
time.
We would have never known. Yeah, we knew that he was going to. This is what he was said in his inauguration speech. He said what he was going to do, right? And he was going to bring back everything, and he was going to hand the United States back to the American people. And we knew that, but we didn't know that he hit the ground running and doing things right off the bat. This end portion of the COVID and all of that is the enemy fighting because they know they're drowning and they had to
Right.
do stuff. So this last part, the reason why he's allowing this last part so tough is because we have to wake up and see what we're dealing with.
Right, we do,
And
and it's gonna happen anyways. With
yeah,
I mean, it's very clear to people. You can't win a war against God. I mean, you can definitely try, of course. And we know about the devil's reign on the earth for 1,000 years. But to us, 1,000 years is small, but for God, 1,000 years is a day. So you have to think of it in that way. Our time is much slower than God's time, and so I think
right.
with us repeating the history and not having patience, that's one thing about man, is that we don't have no patience. We just want things to happen, and when are you going to see these arrests, or when you're going to do that. But you have to have patience because things are not going to happen the way that we want. So that's why we're going through so much stuff we're going through now, because people are impatient and they want this and this and this and this. And then you miss so many things in the process where you have to just let it play out on its own. You have to trust in God, have faith, trust in our president, have his back. Okay, because I don't know what president in our history has ever donated their check. Okay, for one, we
Boy,
haven't been in a war in 39 years. I'm just not understanding. We're going back to the gold standard. Like, there's just so many different things that Trump is doing that's being overshadowed to where it doesn't make any sense anymore. And any other excuse would just be hate, because there's no other way to explain it. I mean, you
yeah,
can look up information just like I can, but if you want to sit there and debate people that are trying to love you, that are trying to wake you up and not force it on you, but naturally tell you, then go on to hell. Okay, go on. I'm gonna pray for you, because it makes our job much harder as patriots. We're trying to just slowly wake people up, but we're fighting against the Operation Mockingbird, and it's a tough psyop. Okay, and it's time to get off the psyop. It's time to wake up. It's time to choose whether you want
the
freedom or tyranny. That's the
Matrix.
option. Yeah, freedom or tyranny. Okay, so if you choose Republicans, that's freedom. If you go Democrats, it's tyranny. And tyranny only ends in slavery and death. So if you want to be a slave your whole life, then go on to China. Go on. Go on. We will support you. We will even chip in for your ticket if that's how you want to live your
I
life.
said that
But
the other day. I
Americans,
said, I
yeah,
said, I said it'd be nice of me just to say I will buy you your ticket. If you don't want to be here and you hate it so bad here, I will be kind enough in my heart to buy you a ticket to go wherever you want.
yeah, go on.
I will please, I will be
Yeah.
pleasing in that for you. Like,
We
go
all
on.
support it as patriots. We all support it. I mean, if you feel so harshly, I mean, there's so many people that want to come here, and the one thing about American that I feel like it's very a misperception. We don't hate people. We don't mind people that want to come over to our country, but unfortunately, it's gotten so bad to where kids have been being trafficked with the border wall. Like, there's so many bad stories you don't hear about that actually happens. And we're just trying to just put a stop to it. Let people come in. If our laws were working in our favor, then when people came to our border, they wouldn't be on a waiting list for 8 years. So that should tell you something, okay? Right there. That should tell you very clearly how backed up our system is, because people are in it for power and control, not because they care about human life. It's very
Right.
simple. So again, we love everybody. We don't care, if you want to come over here and you want to go through our requirements, which is speaking English first, knowing our Constitution, getting a job, okay, you get issued a social security number. Okay, and you can live whatever best life you want to live. Okay, we don't even knock religion to a big extent until you want to come over here and be a jihadist and kill us and take us out, take our job. Like, that's where we have to put our foot down, because we
Yeah.
can't go to their countries and do that. We can't go to China and do that. We can't go to the Middle East and
Nowhere.
do that. If an
No.
American did that, we would be dead. So all we're asking for is the same respect and the same courtesy. That's not that hard, okay? It's
And
not.
see,
I'm sorry.
let me just tell you this too. I was adopted, right? I went to a home when I was 16. I was adopted by them. And my adopted father, he is Mexican from Monterrey, Mexico, and he came here when he was 14 on a school visa, okay? Legally, he came here on a school visa. He kept up his visa. He went to college, to ministry college. He became a minister of of Presbyterian religion. Okay, he adopted children. He raised those children the years that they had left to be raised.
Mm-hmm.
Continued working as a minister, all under a visa.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean, there's.
he was
Mhm.
able to have and got married here. He was able to get married. He was able to go to school. He was able to get a good job. He was able to adopt children under a visa.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if you
Many
come
people.
here, it's not like you're sitting in a cage waiting to become a citizen. He raised my sister and I the rest of the years that we had left. He raised my sister. My adopted father became a citizen not too long ago. I want to say maybe in the last 9 years, 10 years, just
Hmm.
became citizen and then went on to get his doctorate degree.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of
So
different ways. And I
just
mean,
because,
and another thing too is the H-1B visa. Like that's one of our big problems in California because what they do is when you have companies like Google and you have companies like Facebook, they bring people over through the H-1B visa. And what does that does? That affects the American workers. Like my husband is a commercial electrician. He's done all kind of big jobs, Google, Facebook, YouTube, high tech security, like all kind of things. And it's sad because we've had to fight so much. And my husband is so brilliant. Like, I mean, he's just like brilliant. And it's just sad because we fight in California every day for the basic rights that we've paid into. And then how can you can compete with somebody that's under the table? You're not paying taxes on them. Like there's just so many things. And that's how all these big tech companies become rich. It's called slave labor. Okay,
yes,
because they do it to the H-1B visa. Okay, they live here and then some of them just disappear. I mean, they don't even check back in. So once they're here, they're here. They go underground, and then we
yep,
have to clean up the mess when something happens bad to an American, like if somebody gets killed or drunk driver or anything, then we find out, well, hey, this person's been over here for 8+ years and just been living their best life on America's back, and enough's enough. So we love everybody, but you have to come here, you have to pay your own way. That's the way that America was bred and the way we are as people. We love everybody, but what you're not going to do is you're not going to come over here and take what we
and
work
live
hard
off
for.
of us.
Right. We're not complainers. We don't nitpick. Like we love people. I don't care what race you are. Like Americans, we stick. We stick. We love each other. Like we work together. We talk. We communicate. If you need help, I have plenty of neighbors that'll come over here and help me watch my kids, whatever. And it doesn't matter. It's just like when you see the news and all the hate, like CNN, you see all these just bad people just saying just evil stuff about America. It's like, of course, the young people hate America because look what they watch on the news every day. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, true.
It's
True.
really
And then
heartbreaking.
the people who are brought here and taught that, not only people who are brought here and taught in their country that America is bad because we start wars over there. There's so much war in America's over there. And then they come here to get away from that war. They hate us as Americans because, oh, you should have known what your country is doing to ours. And so they raise their kids to hate America and they grow up, they go through college and they, get taught all this other stuff that messes up their mind because
Mhm.
colleges are teaching horrible things to people on how to hate America. So they put what they've been taught and what they're being taught in college, and then they become teachers.
Exactly. I think how people have to understand it though, it's a difference because a lot of the real genuine people of all these other nations, they're going through the same thing that we're going through. And it's not the ones that are bad actors or the ones that are in government. I mean, people probably don't realize how many people like Dianne Feinstein and Nancy Pelosi migrate over here that naturally hate America. It's not like all of the people that come over here. It's the ones that are a part of the cabal that have their people that have had history of doing this. So they get the people that are rich or that their kids or whatever that have been trained to be that way. But I can say I met some good people from a lot of countries, and it's just the bad actors. It's all the politicians that funnel in these people from other countries to do their deeds, and they have their time
Yeah,
here. And when they make that phone call, it's time for them to make an appearance and do what they signed up to do. So I think we're all going through this nationwide. It's not just America. And I really don't feel in my heart that everybody hates America. I just think it's the bad ones that have been trained to hate us, you know? It's like
Yeah.
50-50. You got good people and you have bad people. And it's the bad people that are making the good people, look like they hate us. But I really don't feel like that. Like, I have a lot of people on Twitter that are from other countries that I love them to death. I never met them, but I love them. They respect me. I respect them. And I'm grateful for that. It's taught me a lot about other countries and how they're experiencing the same heartbreak that we are. They're trying to escape too, but they don't want to come to America. They like their country just fine. They just want to be
Yeah.
a better. So it's like fighting a
Yeah.
1,000-year-old system. We're all going through it.
Yeah. And it's crazy because I go on Twitter and they have video of like Hong Kong holding American flags, just supporting us. And they have Canada's out there just in droves. I mean, like
Right.
piles of people chanting
Mhm.
America,
Right.
chanting Trump. It's so
Right.
crazy to me. Like,
Right.
wow. Wow.
Yeah, because he's a good person, and they knew, like, a lot of countries know the truth about America. That's what I've learned, like, through my research. It's like we're the only ones that don't know, kind of, but they
It's
know.
the blind
They know
ones.
the bad actors, like they know all the bad, like Hillary. They know about Joe Biden. They know about all them, and so of course they're not rooting because they know what they offer, and that's death. But I feel like when Trump coming in and him just showing a lot of these countries that we don't want to go to war with you, we don't want to take over your land. We just want to work together collectively. You focus on your land. As long as you don't bother us, we don't bother you. So I feel like with that
And
stance that
he
Trump is making,
just got his third nomination.
right?
Third
Yeah, he did.
nomination for the Peace Prize.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Julian on Twitter, 60Z. I love him so much. He's the one that told me about how Trump got the third medal and stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of good people out there, and I think Twitter. Don't be scared. Just go out there and be living your truth, and you'll be surprised at how many good people you meet. There's actually a lot of good, loving people on Twitter. There's some
Yeah.
bad ones, but patriots have
Yes,
control of that, and we just block those people. But literally in our little community on Twitter, like it's loving. Like we
it
wake each other
is.
up, we share information. Like we're family. We're kind of like all we got. It's like a small group of people that are changing the world, and I'm just glad that I'm on the right side of history, and that's God.
Me too.
Yeah, it's important.
Me too. So we have come to a close. I want to give Jocy an opportunity to kind of just say her last words and kind of, speak from the heart to you guys. Make sure that you like me, love me, follow me. Um, and go ahead, Jocy. I'm going to give you the floor.
Well, I mean, I've said pretty much a lot of the things that how I feel as far as things that are going on, but I definitely would advise, patriots just to do a little research, and if you want to know something, just type it into your Google or your DuckDuckGo and just kind of figure it out and make your own decision. Don't listen to anybody. Listen to yourself, because it's going to be you at the end on Judgment Day by yourself and not with anyone else. And have faith in God. Talk to God. If you want help, just ask God to help you change it. It may not be overnight, but it will happen just by having faith, and just have faith in humanity. And to all my family out there, my Gap family, my Parlor family, my Twitter family, the Star, I love you. Like, you're my right hand. Like, we got this for our children. We're not going to give up the fight. For my brother Frank, I love you too. Like, you're in Texas, holding it up big. Law and Order on Twitter, I love you too, like, so much. Julian, you're so amazing and great. I love you too. I have like a whole little family, like Nikki, Mama Barb, I call her. Like, I have my own little family on there that just like support me, and just like they love me genuinely. And Darth Man, I can't forget about my little Darth Man. But yeah, it's just people that like I really genuinely love, and I've met good people like Lana, who I'm learning and just engaging with and having intelligent conversations. And that's how you start. You start by sitting down, collectively coming together, respecting each other's opinions, and moving on. You're not going to agree on everything. That's okay. We all
Right.
are different. Okay. We're all different. We all feel different. But coming together and working hard for our country and making the world a better place under God is what's important. And,
Yeah.
just start researching your politics. Your voice does matter. I don't care what people tell you, that your voice does not matter. Your vote doesn't matter. It does matter, because your vote could
It
change your
does.
world. So stop listening to people, start doing what's right for you and your family, and then let's get back to basics, and let's come back and make America greater again. That's the
Right.
best I can say it.
Awesomeness. And I want to Thank you for coming on today. I'm so appreciative. I really am. I was so excited all week about this podcast because first of all, I haven't been on in a minute. And second of all, I felt like we were gonna have such great dialogue. And I love when I can connect with someone and be able to speak freely about how I feel or what I know and have someone be like, yes. There's so many people out there, as soon as you say something, they call you all kind of names and tell you you're crazy, tell you you're in a cult, tell you, they have so much Trump, what is it? The TDS?
Trump derangement syndrome?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
TDS so bad. It's crazy. And you know what's crazy is that before all of this, I really could not stand when Trump got on the TV. His voice would literally like penetrate through my ears and go, and I would be like,
didn't like Trump. I mean, that's one thing. It's like living in your honesty. Like, I didn't vote for Trump. I didn't vote for anybody. Okay, like I just wanted to see Trump prove himself. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna see what he does. And then I started like getting more deeper in things because I started seeing how he was being treated, and that's not just godly. It's just not. I'm sorry, I don't care.
Yes,
it's so evil for the things I've seen people say that say they believe in God, but the things you're saying is not of God. It's of man. So after I started like realizing that, and then I started listening, like really listening to what this man was saying. And I'm like, you know what? That's my guy. Like, that's my person. Like, I'm proud of my president. And, you can say what you want. You ain't got to like me and I ain't got to like you either. But I'm going to still pray for you. I'm going to still be a Republican at the end of the day. I'm still going to be born alone. I'm still going to die alone. I'm still going to support Trump. So only thing I can suggest
for me, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Only thing I can suggest for people is just to do your own research, and then a lot of your questions will be answered because it's all there. It's just you have to just look for it if you want to. But I don't think people want to look for it. I think they want to just blame somebody for something. So
that's true.
For real, that's the thing. I don't understand it no more. Like
it's like they feel horrible that they've been in such a sleep that they have. It's like a guilty, like I can't believe I've been got so much that they refuse to. To acknowledge it. They're like, no, that's just to acknowledge that I didn't know is to acknowledge that I failed in everything that I've, believed in or voted in my whole life. And because I voted, then it's my fault that all this has happened. Like, it's such a cluster of, you know what I'm saying? People just can't handle it.
It's just a psyop though. It's Operation Mockingbird. I mean, if people even look that up, I mean, there's a reason why people are programmed. I mean, and it's not really their fault, but you have to deprogram yourself. And by deprogramming yourself, that means you think on your own. That's the simple way I can explain it. Detach, research, and figure out what's best for you.
Yeah.
And kind of that's it really is.
I love you. Thank you for coming on. You guys, this girl is amazing. Go search her out. She's willing to talk to anyone and anybody who has questions, or if you have anything that you want to talk to her about to get her opinion on, go search her out. Go on her Facebook. She has a page that is helping with the children, the sex trafficking. And yeah, so until next time, you guys, I promise to bring you more. Love you too. And we will talk some more on Twitter. Bye, guys.
Alrighty. Bye. Bye, Patriots. Love.